whatever it is that you want, get out of your own way and think about the value you can bring to someone else, because that is a human response. It opens up a deeper conversation. And then once you have that establishment of a relationship, then you can start to get into wants and needs.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Practical Wealth Show. So today we're going to talk about entrepreneurial success. We're going to talk about mindset barrier to entrepreneurial success with my special guest, Coach Dan Gordon. So let me tell you about Dan before we get started. I'm gonna keep it short because I want to tell you about yourself. But in 2016, Dan was fed up. Big. He lost his marketing business, lost over 80 grand, lost his home, lost his income. See, I like people like that, guys, because people don't, you can't only win when the sun is shining, right? So how do you come back from that? Because when a lot of times your net worth and your self-worth are tied together, and how do you crawl yourself back out of that ditch? So Dan, I love people that have lost and come back. So 8 months later, he walked on stage in front of a packed house, being paid 10 grand for his speaking gig. So today, Coach Dan takes gutsy entrepreneurs on a journey to massive transformation, right? One of the things, Dan, we say in investing is about becoming something, not about buying something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they confront their demons, they realize their greatness, they unleash their most badass business selves on the world. Dan, welcome to the Practical Wealth Show.
Curtis, I love that introduction. It's almost like, I don't know, I wrote it myself. Beautiful. Right? Well said.
I want to be badass. So I said, I want to be badass entrepreneur when I grow up.
You already are. So let's get that out of the way. Hey, while you were talking about that, something came to mind. So you're talking about the mindset. And what I want to talk about is not the comeback. I want to talk about that moment of snot and tears on the floor when I was literally having an emotional breakdown. And here's what I came to. And this is true for everybody. If you want to know what you believe about yourself, take a look around. If you want to know what you want, take a look around. Now, people say, no, I'm not making enough money. I want more, right? Or I believe I can be successful. I'm not successful yet. Mm-hmm. Well, not the truth. Because when I was lying on that floor, I had to take a bitter pill. And that bitter pill was the truth. Mm-hmm. And the truth was, I put myself in that situation. Now I have a lot of excuses. I have a lot of stories, and I can tell you a story that would convince you it was not my fault. But if you blame circumstances or other people, you live in a victim mentality. Let me say that again. If you blame circumstances, if you blame other people for anything, you live in a victim mentality. And the reason I was on that floor is because I had been living in a victim mentality. I had constructed a prison cell of my own thinking. And what I realized is the reason that I was there was that I hated my business. I hated my life. I hated myself because I wasn't living my passion. And so in that moment, I realized the reason my marketing company failed is because I wasn't living my passion. I hate marketing. I'm just good at it. Right. Okay. So if you're not, the listener, if you're not making the kind of money that you want to make, there is something that you are doing and thinking. There's a truth that you're not accepting that has put you in this situation. You're making exactly the amount of money that you want. What you need to do is understand why you want that and change your wants.
Wow. Come on now. So now my mind is racing on all different directions. So let's talk about that. So how do they determine their, all right, let me calm down. Cause that was good. So how do they do that? How do they, there's a process to that. Because most people, they don't what's his name? Napoleon Hill says you got to have a chief definite aim, right?
Yeah,
That's like,
absolutely. A
and
vision.
where it's like a vision that's like draws you out of bed, right? That
Hmm.
you have a like
Yeah,
I have a desire to be free. That's a driving motivation for me. And
beautiful.
that literally is burning in my gut. So I can't wait to get up and
Yeah,
get to my computer, right? And so most people, I would dare say, don't feel that way. So how do you find
absolutely.
that and then tie revenue to that? I guess there's a
Okay.
two-part question.
All right. Thank you for the small, easy softball question. Really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Okay. But I actually have an answer.
Okay.
So it starts with a deep personal dive, right? So you look at where you are in life and business, in your income, and then you take responsibility. You say, for some reason, I must want this. Then you start working backwards to understand what you're doing to protect yourself that has put you in that situation. So, classic 9 to 5 example, right? I'm not making as much money as I want to make because my boss doesn't appreciate me. All right. So, classic example. Let's start working backwards. I don't feel appreciated by someone else. That means you don't appreciate you. You
Hmm.
don't fully recognize what you bring to the world. Because if you did, your boss would be throwing money at you, just begging you not to quit. Right? So, there's a conversation that you're unwilling to have both with yourself and with your boss, like who I am as a person in the world. And then the conversation with your boss isn't like banging on their desk going, "Hey, I'm right." It's like, "Hey, there are, here's what I want to do to bring more success to this organization." Right? So it starts with what you bring, like to your point,
Yep.
Curtis, the
Yep.
value, what
Yep.
you bring. It's not, "Oh, please give me a raise, scraps off the master's table," right? It is, "Hey, I have a vision for this company and here's how I want to implement it." Right? Are you with me? So the reason most people don't do that is because most 9 to 5ers have gotten themselves into a position, into a belief that they can only have what's given to them.
Yes.
And when you stand outside of that belief, then you start to recognize the immense control you have over all aspects of your life, that you are infinitely influential, and that the influence is not about getting someone to do what you want, it's about inspiring them with your vision.
I love that. I think it's funny. I had a similar question with my daughter. She got her first job. She's 23. And I'm like, listen,
Nice.
I need more money. That is irrelevant. Okay. That,
Yeah.
that where do you think money comes from? So you got to look at the company.
Yeah.
I got into an argument with this politician. Oh, we need more raises and minimum wage. I said, listen, do you think money comes from a magic direct deposit machine out the sky? You know,
Mhm.
you got
I
to
love that.
stuff
Yeah.
has got to be sold to pay these people, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
and so I told her, so listen, you have to. This is so powerful because people see themselves as a victim. First of all, we go back to something you said
Yeah.
earlier. Heard this from Ben Hardy. All progress begins with the truth.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to start there. And if as somebody said, if you are pointing blame at somebody else, I'm holding my hand up to the camera. It's
Yeah.
three fingers
Yeah.
pointing back at you, right?
Always.
So
Right.
you got to take responsibility. See, what people in this country, they want freedom, but they don't want responsibility.
Absolutely. Right. They want to throw that responsibility on somebody else. This is your fault. Okay.
Right.
So the first thing you got to get out of your mind is yourself. You are the biggest impairment to everything that you desire. So when you go into asking your boss for a raise and you say, "I want a raise," you have already failed. I had a client who wanted a raise, and I said, "This is what you do," because it was raise time, right? And everybody was going. I said, "Walk in there, sit down, and say, I bet this is really tough for you. I bet you hate this, right? I bet you hate, you know, everybody coming in here asking for a raise. And of course you want to give them more money, but you're limited. So this has got to be really rough to say no to people all day. How do you handle that?" Mhm. And so it wasn't a game, like it wasn't a trick. What it was, it's empathy. You're understanding somebody else's needs and their emotional experience. You know, like um, my love of my life partner, Rosalind, we're looking for a new house, right? And every time we walk into a home, the real estate agent shoves a clipboard in our face and goes, "Sign in, please." Right? And so what's that mean? I want you on my mailing list because you are nothing but an ATM machine to me. And
Right.
if I can't sell
Right.
you this house, I want to sell you a different house. But there was no love, right? There was no sense of, hey, how you doing? Like, how's the home shopping experience going for you? Like, you guys look exhausted. Are you okay? You want some water? Like, none of that. So whatever it is that you want, get out of your own way and think about the value you can bring to someone else, because that is a human response. It opens up a deeper conversation. And then once you have that establishment of a relationship, then you can start to get into wants and needs.
I love that. So, and that not just, well, one, y'all need to go back, write that down if you got a review coming up. Okay. So he just gave you like a writer downer. That's what we call a writer
Yeah.
downer, Dan. But with everything, you have to lead with empathy. I tell people I know you talk about sales. It's like if you're talking, you're already wrong, right?
Yep.
Because you
Yeah.
need to be asking questions, and because people paint the road for you. So whether that's in your business, whether that's everybody's in sales.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go there for a
Yes.
second, because that's
Of course.
if you're married, you've been on a date, you sold. Okay.
Oh yeah. Right. Rosalind was a hard sell. Trust me.
Yes, exactly. So, and but you talk about being authentic and not
Yeah.
you didn't say it's
Douchebag.
smart. You said douchebag, right? I was gonna say smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how to not to be what does that mean?
Okay. Hey, Curtis, wouldn't you love to open up a wing of a hospital with your name on it? That's what I'm going to do for you. That is douchebag selling, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is such incredible bullshit, right? And
Right.
I've talked to a coach who actually said that to me. And what I said back is, well, where's your wing of the hospital? And he goes, well, I'm working on it. And I'm like, you are so full of crap.
Right.
Right. So douchebag selling is when I'm going to use tools, techniques, Jedi mind tricks to get you to buy something. Right? You're an ATM machine to me and nothing else. That's
Right.
douchebag selling.
Right.
You open up a relationship, right? When someone says to me, I'm talking about coaching. And with every client that I talk to, I make a commitment that they get paid back, right? That is a solid commitment. They get paid back for what they pay me. I don't give them that crap of, well, what you put into it is what you get out of it. That's insane. If I'm your coach and you're not making money off my coaching, I have failed you. And I've never had that problem because I get them paid back. Now, when they look at the price, they're like, whoa, that's expensive. And instead of saying like, well, you have to make an investment in yourself and that kind of crap, I say, hey, I get it. I know the feeling of wanting to buy something and feeling like I can't afford it. It's a terrible feeling. I know you want to coach with me, and I know that you have a lot of concerns about that. So would it be okay if we talked about those concerns? Right. So what I did just there is, first, instead of being on the opposite side of the table, I went around to their side of the table. Hey, I get it. I know what it feels like to want to buy. Like when I went to buy my Tesla and I looked at the price, I'm like, holy crap, this does not feel good.
Right.
But I wanted a car that drives itself. I hate driving and I love traveling. So there you go. That's the price, right? And so you start with where they are. You don't try to drag them. You start with, hey, I get it. I've been right there. It doesn't feel good. And right away, they're like, oh, wow, this person gets me. Right. And then you open up the authentic conversation. Would it be okay if we talked about this? You ask their permission.
Mm-hmm.
You don't drive them into it. Would it be okay if we had a conversation about the concerns that you have about spending the money? Then you can start to understand where their mind is. right? I don't overcome objections, right? If
Right.
you go into a sales meeting with the
Mhm.
idea of overcoming someone's objections, you've already failed because all the emphasis is on you. I want to overcome their objections, right? That's not how you do it. That's not how you make a connection with someone by telling them they're wrong, by tricking them into thinking that the things that they don't like, they like. It's by having real conversations. And look, I don't close every client. I have a 30% closing rate, and I like that closing rate. Right? I like that closing rate because it tells me that that I'm priced correctly, right? If you have a 50, 70% closing rate, you are charging way too little,
That's a good point. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So, I'm priced right for what I do. I I am in the business of destination. Right? I'm not in the business of the cost per session. Just like when
Right.
you fly in an airplane, you're not paying per mile, you're paying for the destination. Right. And so this is the framing that you want to do on whatever you're selling. You're paying for people are paying for the experience that they get out of your product or service, not the product or service themselves, because people don't buy things, people buy experiences. And
Right.
if you're not selling the experience, you're not selling anything.
That's so good. The so let's go back to, because I think this is one of the barriers to entrepreneurial success. People don't like,
Okay.
they don't they see selling as adversarial and trying to get
Yeah.
people that to buy something they don't want or need,
Hmm.
right? And that's not what you're doing. It's really
Right.
I always say this Dan, I use the Dan Sullivan definition of helping people make a future decision that's good for them.
Yeah.
And how
Right.
do you know that? You ask them, "What do you want?" You just go through but so if you look at that, right, because if you're let's say entrepreneurs, you're listening to this, does your thing solve a problem? Help, are they better off for having done business with you?
They damn well better be, or you're a fraud,
You're a
right?
fraud, right? So now, so you better make sure that's right, right? And
And
then
yeah,
yeah.
and you also want to make sure that you actually know what you're selling. And let me
Mhm.
give you an example of that. Let's say that you have created the ultimate bass fishing lure, right? This lure catches bass like a mother, right?
Mhm.
Now, you're not selling a fishing lure. What you're selling is an experience that the person fishing wants to have. And so you have to understand, what do they want? Do they just want to catch fish? No, that's not it. People go fishing usually in groups, right? So they're on a boat with their friends, they're all fishing while their friends are sitting there with their line in the water, catching an old boot out of the lake. They're pulling in bass after bass, and they get to hold the fish up in front of their friends and go, check it out, man. Right? They get that. Men by our nature are competitive, right? So you win the competition. That's what you're selling. You're
Mhm.
selling the experience of feeling great about catching the most fish, right? So you don't want to talk about like the stainless steel hook that's on
Right.
the lure, or the
Right.
technology, in the body of the. You want to talk about the experience that you're selling. So right now, you the entrepreneur who is listening, you got to figure out what you're selling, because there's nothing to do with features and benefits. Forget features and benefits.
Right.
Focus on the experience that you're delivering. When people come to me and they say, I want to make more money, Coach Stan, I say, that's great, we can absolutely do that. Is that all that you want? And they're like, well, no. And I say, because see, I have a feeling that what you want is, you want to wake up every morning feeling passionate about what you do, right? You want to know that the people that you're selling to are just delighted with what you do. You want to get, emails and posts that say, oh my God, Curtis is the best. I love working with him. He's amazing. Like, would you like that? And they're like, oh yeah, yeah, right. Because that's the fulfillment part of it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so people, so you have to understand that when you ask your clients or customers what they want, they're rarely going to tell you the truth, because the truth is rather intimate, right? It's it's an emotional truth. I want to feel great about myself every day. That's what I really want. Well, people aren't going to say that. It
Right.
sounds silly. It's
Right.
easy to say, I want to make a lot of money. So you want to go beneath their words. And, especially if you're doing one-to-one sales
Yeah.
and you say to someone, what is it that you want? And they tell you, you want to say, you know what? I get that you want that, but I also have a feeling that you want X, Y, and Z. Am I right about that? Right. And then now you're having an authentic connection. But in order to do that, you have to be willing to be wrong. You
Right.
have to be willing to take a risk because they might say, well, no, that's full of crap. Right. I don't want that. And then own it. Yeah. All right, man, I was way off. So let's talk about what you really do want.
I want to point out something here. So if you're watching this or as you're listening to this, what I want you to hear is his voice inflection. All right. I want you to hear his pace. It's conversational. It's not an interrogation, right? You're not waiting for your turn to talk. You're listening
Mm,
so you can respond to what they said, right?
yeah.
So I'm thinking, so as I'm thinking about this, because I've had like two conversations last 2 days. All right, my wife and I are trying to get our real estate license, or I've got to,
Yeah.
they want to sell something. I'm Curtis, I want to get my insurance license, or I just got involved in this network marketing companies, and then they go into the features, the greatest product of blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and so what I want you to hear is they don't care about the company's been in business 10 years and is debt free, right? They don't, yeah, right. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care that you make, if you're real estate, that you call people back and, you say thank you and please. That's
Right.
basic. I mean, that's
Yeah.
foundational. You're supposed to do that, right?
That's
And
just the ticket into the park,
right.
man.
So what's the experience that you're paying for them when they're in their house? Are you listening and helping them get their dream? So I want y'all to see this because y'all can do this, but you got to change your mindset about what you think sales is, and if
Yeah.
you're an entrepreneur, you're in sales. I hate to break it to you, right?
Right. Deal. Right.
Right.
Well,
I hate to break
get
it
it.
to you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. In your experience, how do fear and self-doubt manifest as obstacles to entrepreneurial success? And what strategies do you recommend for tackling that kind of stuff head on?
Okay. First of all, let's talk about what fear is. All right.
Okay.
Fear is a vision of a future that you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that again. Fear is a vision of a future that you don't want. Fear is there's no such thing as a fearless person. Fear is God's gift to humanity. It's why human beings have been around this long, right? If you think about it, when we were cave dwellers and we were out walking around by the bushes and we hear some rustling in the bushes
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we think, holy crap, that could be a tiger. I'm out of here, right?
Right, right.
So what happened to the chill cave people who are like, it's probably just the wind, right? They all got eaten, right? So understand that we are descended from the most paranoid, frightened of our species, right? And that is built into us that keeps us alive. When we're merging onto the highway, we are thinking about the perils of someone running into us or us running
Mm-hmm.
into some,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's how we operate. So um, don't sell yourself on the idea that at some point you'll be able to do something and not feel fear. Right? Look, before we got on this call, I felt fear, right? Because my mind started saying, well, what if this, right? But to your point, Curtis, I have a relationship with my fear.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I talk to it like, hey, I get it. Yeah, okay, this might go sideways. It might suck. But if it does, I'll be okay.
Right.
It'll be fine. And that's the thing. Like people try to overwhelm their fear. They try to overpower their fear. They try to, push through their fear. Be with your fear. Think of your fear like a frightened child in a thunderstorm. What do you scream at him? Like, go back to bed. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
storm. Like how unkind is that? Instead, you'd be with that kid like, hey, I understand. Like, yeah, it's scary, but I just want you to know, like, you're going to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you relate to your fear. You build a relationship with your fear. Now, once you have that and you're in a sales situation, yeah, you're going to feel fear. Now, The thing that helps the most with your fear is authenticity,
Mm.
right? The more you try to fake it and pretend that you're not feeling fear, that you know exactly what to say, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah.
We were looking at this house, and it was next to an apartment complex. Well, we don't want a house next to an apartment complex, and so we said, yeah, one of the barriers of this house is next to an apartment complex, and the realtor says, oh yeah, but they're very quiet, right? Like he knows every 50
Right.
people in that apartment complex, and every one of them, right? What a bunch of crap. I Now, if he had been authentic and he said, yeah, look, I mean, that's a barrier. I understand. And you can get a house that's not next to an apartment complex. It'll be like $100,000 more expensive. And if that's what you want, excellent. But if price is important to you, you may have to manage that. Now, my experience, and I've been here a long time, is that they haven't been that loud, but you have to make that choice. Now we're having a conversation,
Yes.
right? Or if you walk into a house, and I'm thinking about this because I've been talking with a lot of realtors lately, and they're always putting lipstick on the pig, right?
Right.
If I walked into a house and the realtor says, "Hey, can I tell you something about this house I'm not crazy about that you want to watch out for?" Would that be okay? And then can I also tell you a few things I love about this house? Right. Now I'd be like, wow, that's really cool. Like he's actually telling me some things that I want to watch out for, some reasons I might not want to buy the house. Right. What does that do? It builds trust. It builds empathy. Right. Now, whatever this guy says, I'm going to have greater trust in him
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like he's advocating for me. Like, hey, this water heater, it's pretty old. You're probably going to have to buy a new one. So you want to factor in X dollars into the cost of the sale. Right? You advocate for the people that you want to sell to, and now you're building a bridge, and then the fear goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're a real person
Yeah.
looking out for them. It also makes you very referable, and referrals are the
Yeah.
lifeblood of your business, right? Because nobody's going to
Any
refer
business.
themselves to, nobody's going to stick a salesperson on their friends. That's
Right.
a
Yeah.
douchebag, right? So nobody's going to refer a douchebag to their friend.
Yeah.
And
And
let me ask
and
you.
there's
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, there's one other thing. So when it comes to easing your stress and fears, I search endlessly for ways to improve my performance. And I've
Mhm.
tried meditating. I'm not good at that because my mind is always going. I tried microdosing. That wasn't that great. But I stumbled across this product called New Calm, and it is an app for your phone that plays what just sounds like music, but it's this technology called binaural beats. And what it is our audio waveforms that are underneath the music. You don't even hear it, you only hear the music. But what happens with this is it resets the rhythms of your brain. Now,
Hmm.
I was drag kicking and screaming to this because it sounded like a load of crap, but they put decades of research into this. It turns out that over 50 professional sports teams are using it: the NFL, the NHL, the U.S. Department of Defense, Special Forces, Navy SEALs, Air Force. Like they're all using this product called Nucalm, Nucalm. So I started using it. Right now, I don't sleep that much. Right, I
I'm
need
downloading as we speak, Dan.
Okay, I need full. Well, okay, I'm going to give you a free thing.
Okay.
I started like I wasn't. I need 8 hours of sleep. I usually get 5. They have this rescue channel on it that you listen to it for about 30 minutes, and it makes you feel like you've had a full night's sleep, even
Wow.
if you haven't. There's a channel that's about relieving stress, enhancing your focus, optimizing your per performance, helping you sleep. Now, to get this, well, I called up the company. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but I love this thing, and I want to, I want to get it for my clients, and so I was like, hey, can you give me like a free trial? And they're like, absolutely. So I'm offering this to everybody. To get a free trial of Nucalm, just text the word calm, CALM, to this number, 213 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366. Text the word calm, CALM, and you'll get a free trial on this. Now, I want everybody to give this a shot, because what you're going to find immediately is that you have so much more focus. Tony Robbins is in business with these people, right? So it's the only one that's FDA approved, that has patents, that's a medical device. So it is a very cool system. I really urge everybody to do it. I
Okay.
can't say enough good things about it.
I love that. So let me just read the number back. It's
Yeah.
213-409-8366.
Yep. And text the word calm, CALM, and you'll get a little link to get a free trial.
Does it matter the caps?
Oh,
No caps? Does that matter?
No,
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
And it's just, you plug it in, you put in your headphones, you put on an eye mask, and bye-bye. You are going on a ride. It's really sensational.
Oh, all right. I love that, because I'm so hyped. I can't sleep more than like 5.5 hours.
I know, right? I mean, look, like, this morning I am up at 3:30, right? I'm like, okay, rescue, right? And I do 30 or 50 minutes of rescue, depending on what I think I need, and boom, I'm up.
I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's done. I'm glad I didn't finish. I am going to detect your things. So I stopped. I'm gonna use your thing.
Yeah.
Listen, I heard that you have a secret weapon of success. What's that all about?
I just gave it to you. New call,
Oh, that
man.
was it?
That's
Oh,
my
that was
secret
it?
weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's our secret weapon? Okay.
Yeah.
So, listen, what haven't I asked you? And I want
Yeah.
you to tell them where to find you, that you wanted to make sure that we get out, so our my listeners can get the most benefit of this conversation, because you've been dropping gems all morning. This is
Okay. So first of all, we've been talking about sales. I want to give you something I wrote called the 10 tools of masterful sales, right? And to get that, just text the word sales, SALES, to that same number, 213-409-8366. And you'll download this little ebook. You can read it in 15 minutes, right?
Okay.
Sales, SALES, 213-409-8366. And look, and this isn't a funnel. You're not going to be asked to pay for anything. You're not going to be on some right. This is what I do. Right? I love this. I love entrepreneurs. I love helping people sell better. When you sell better, you make more money. You have less stress. You have happier families, happier children, and no one goes around and shooting up schools. Right? This is my goal. That's my vision for the world. Now, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just do a search for Coach Dan Gordon. Would love to chat with you. If you want to book a call with me, we can have a quick 15-minute conversation. And I guarantee you, at the end of the conversation, you will not be a client, because this call isn't a sales call. It's a help you call. If you want to talk about being a client, we can have that on a different call, but that's what this is about. And you're going to notice a pattern here. Text the word help, HELP, to that same number, 213-409-8366. Like, I use this as a way to reach out to people and to deliver something really easily, so you don't have to memorize a website and everything. It's just that same number, and I have different keywords, and I can tell you how to use that. So you ask me, like, what are you not asking me? What's the thing that, what is the secret weapon? You have to ask yourself, what do you think about yourself? What are the parts of yourself that you hide, you repress, you deny? What are the things in the quiet moments as you're drifting off to sleep, as you're waking up in the morning? What are your self-doubts? What are the things that you look at, that you think about when you look in the mirror and you're not happy with what you see? Those are the parts of yourself that need the most love. I'm going to share a little story that I don't usually share. Something that I struggle with. We all have things. My thing is, I'm a compulsive overeater. That means that my drug of choice, my soothing mechanism, is food. And over the course of my life, I have lost and gained over 500 pounds. Now, a couple of years ago, when I decided to embark on another weight loss, I did something very different. I was very heavy. I lost 60 pounds, right? So I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now. And I looked in the mirror and I said, I love you, Dan. Fat, thin, young, old, whatever you are, I love you. And my love for you is, um, it cannot be broken, right? It is undeniable. And every time I looked in the mirror, I would say, I love and accept myself as I am. Now, the reason most people don't do that is they say, well, if I love and accept myself as I am, I'm not going to work hard to
Mhm,
change.
mhm,
But the
mhm,
truth is, if you have a strategy or a campaign of beating yourself up until you're approve of yourself, it's a losing strategy, right? It's like trying to win a marathon by beating yourself with a stick and saying, well, I'll stop doing this when I cross the finish line.
right,
That might work for that one marathon, but it's not going to encourage you to run another one and another one after that.
right.
So that campaign of caring about myself, and it wasn't easy because at first I didn't want to say those things in the mirror, but that campaign has helped me lose weight and help me keep that weight off and help me when the weight's coming back on to help relieve it again. Because when you make how you think of yourself a undeniable, like the way that you care about your children, when you make it so no matter what, that love cannot be tarnished, now you have a platform and a foundation for goodness no matter what. So if you go into the biggest meeting of your life and you screw up and you lose it, yeah, you're going to be disappointed. But the care and compassion that you have for yourself is still undeniable. You'll pick yourself back up. You'll say, okay, I learned a lot. Let me take that into the next meeting. And that is a foundational approach to success. And frankly, it's a foundational approach. And I've studied successful people all of my professional career,
Mhm, mhm.
all of my professional career. And this is the approach that Dr. King and Gandhi and Richard Branson and Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela, they've all done this. They all have an approach to themselves that cannot be tarnished. And yeah, people may think that you're full of yourself or that you're self-involved or that you're a narcissist, that you don't care about anybody but yourself, but you care about yourself first.
Mhm.
And that's how you succeed.
That is perfect. I mean, I think people, you have to like yourself. You have to love yourself, not
Yeah.
like, love. And
Yeah.
if nobody else does, you got to love you. Okay.
Hmm.
And that is brilliant. Listen, can't even think of anything else. I'm going to end on that note.
All
Dan,
right.
Dan
Boom. Mic
Gordon.
drop.
Yeah, mic drop. I don't even want to go past that. Dan, thank you so much. And so we'll put all of the links in the show notes. You also have tell them about the podcast.
Yeah, so I have a podcast called For Badass Entrepreneurs Only. And Curtis, I am making a public declaration. I want you on my podcast,
All
right? I've done a
right.
lot of talking, but I'm going to get you. I'm going to
Okay.
interview you, man, because
Okay.
you got stories, brother. I want to hear them.
All right.
And so you go to For Badass Entrepreneurs Only and find it, or go to my website, Dan Gordon Enterprise, like Starship Enterprise, dangordonenterprise.com. And you can learn more about me. You can find me. You can download all kinds of cool stuff. And you can find my podcast there too.
All right. Sounds good. Guys, go take action. I've been on the site. I was watching a few of the videos. The show is fantastic. And
Thank you.
so definitely put it in rotation. And so I hope you learned a lot about entrepreneurship, uh, loving yourself, sales. We're going to kind of organize these show notes because there's a lot to get out of this episode. You need to listen to it a couple times. You need to get a pen. Okay. And write some stuff down. Dan, thank you so much. And have a great day, everybody.
It's been delightful.
Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Hi there, I'm Curtis May, and I'm here to help you achieve your financial goals. Do you want to be the customer bank, or would you like to be the bank? Subscribe to our channel for regular updates, valuable insights from experts in different fields. You know, the name of the game, guys, is cash flow. Okay. You can't eat equity. And our goal is to help you build, we call it being a cash flownaire, which is passive income twice your expenses outside of Wall Street where possible, right? Which it is quite possible. And so if you're interested in learning more about our services, here is what I challenge you to do, or I invite you to do, I won't say challenge, is to take our financial freedom quiz. See where you are, okay? Don't wait any longer to take control of your financial future. Let's begin this journey together.